Welcome back, True Seeker. Last Saturday, the U.S. and Israel had their first joint attack in history on Iran, as everyone knows. And we covered why that was and why, yet again, it was a Saturday that was a very militaristic day. And now, the following Saturday, the biggest bombing campaign on Iran happens yet. Again, Saturday to Saturday. And of course, in Israel, you know, the Sabbath day, Saturday is the day of worship. Again, Saturn, the sixth planet. A lot of rabbis wear that cube. I forget the name of it, but the six-sided cube, like Saturn's the sixth planet. And then the interesting crossover is how in the end of the Bible, in Protestant Bibles, it's the 66th book. Keep in mind, this Saturday was March 7th, the 66th day of the year. But in the 66th book of Protestant Bibles, it talks about the synagogue of Satan, those who claim to be Jews but are not. And with regards to Saturn, in the occult, there are sections of the occult that associate the planet Saturn with Satan. And Saturn is connected to death and judgment and time. And again, you start to look at these things, it all starts to make a lot of sense because keep in mind, modern day Israel goes against the Bible. The Jews are not to have their own state until the time of the third temple. And that's why there's actually a lot of people within modern day Judaism who want to accelerate the creation of the third temple, because then they'll say, well, look, the third temple's now here, so the state, it fits what's stated in the Torah, which would not be true because, again, the state would have existed before the third temple. But yeah, this ritualism, this tired ritualism that goes over almost everyone's head, it really is mockery. It's mockery. And then the frustrating thing is when you learn about it and why this is being done and why the rituals happen in the way they do, and you try to explain it to your fellow man, they look at you like you're crazy. And again, it goes back to that John Lennon quote: "We are ruled over by insane people for insane purposes." But the other thing is just the way that the things that this cabal gets away with on a daily basis. This right here, if you don't remember this, this is from almost a decade ago now. This is my post from July 4th, 2016. You might recall on the 4th of July, supposedly the Juno probe landed on Jupiter in July. And Google, Google, they don't do it as much as they used to, but for a long time, Google was really focusing on having artwork up. They probably at least once a month, a couple times a month, they do a special Google Doodle. I don't really see that ever on the Google website anymore, so they must have stopped doing that at some point. But this was in the time they were still doing it, and this was the day the Juno probe landed. Goy goal. And I remember looking at this like it was yesterday and going, "Oh my god!" I mean, how do people look at this and not go, "Okay, that's a little bit offensive," and maybe it's because they don't even know what that word is. They don't even recognize that word. Goy, a Jewish name for a non-Jew, and it has a derogatory connotation. And again, it's mostly Talmudic because non-Jays are considered too dumb to be human. They're meant to be the slave race. And again, I mean, I've often said I'm not convinced that they're wrong. I mean, a lot of people just are really dumb, including people that are Jays. I am aware of some really dumb Jays, but just a lot of people are really dumb. The average person, you show them what we showed them last night about Jeff Nippard's fiance just biting the dust at age 36 on 3/6, 151 days after his birthday, the 36 prime. Their mind immediately goes, that's all got to be coincidence. You go, well, did you realize that 3 days earlier, the same thing happened with another guy who's made tens of millions of dollars off YouTube? He lost his sister at 36. His name equals 36. Her name equals 36. She died on 15/1, like 151. It's like you can give these examples to these people endlessly, and every single time it's just a coincidence in their mind. And yeah, because of this state of affairs, here we are in 2026. People can't see what's going on in the world. All the needless warfare, death, destruction, all the consequences that come from that, the printing of money, which causes all of us to live in a world that becomes more and more expensive. All these things are connected. It's just that, too, that people can't even see the simple line through history, such as the Federal Reserve being installed, and then boom, World War I starts almost instantly. Ever since that central bank was put into this country, this never-ending war machine. And isn't that the new movie they just added to Netflix or something? Didn't they just add a new movie called like War Machine? I think I just saw an advertisement for it. I'm like, oh, perfect. Man, the timing, Netflix. War Machine, huh? But anyway, this headline, they finally just took. Oh no, they changed where it was. Okay, this was the main headline for a lot of the day, and it's been one of the sub headlines all day. But notice here we are on Saturn's Day as we're bombing the shit out of Tehran by the numbers, and I'll get to that. But all day they've had this up about how 6 U.S. troops were returned to the United States today on the 66th day of the year. 6 on the 66th day. Again, from the beginning to the end of the Bible, man's made on the 6th day. God regrets making mankind in Genesis 6:6. In the 66th book of the Protestant Bibles, it's where it ends. Revelation. Again, the battle of good and evil, where you learn about 666. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it makes me wonder, did anyone even really die? And if 6 men did die, no doubt they were strategically killed for the ritualism. But look how perfect this is, you guys. The 6 men are returned on the 66th day of the year. And once again, we're on a calendar named after the Pope, the Gregorian calendar, a 52-week calendar, like the word Pope equals 52 in this gematria code. But today's 174 days after the Pope's birthday on the 66th day of the year. And knowing this knowledge is lucrative. Like there was no doubt the Devils in the NHL were picking up their 66th points of the season today. I know ironically, the first 6 games we had picked today, they all came in as imagined. But look at this. One of those was the Devils game. I mean, the Devils were definitely going to pick up their 66 points today because, again, the whole world of sports is scripted just like the news. And for all you guys who are slow to come around to this, a lot of you guys refuse to do anything with your life to take advantage of the rig system. Did I not tell you guys last week you should invest in oil? Did you see how much oil climbed in price this week? Instead of just getting gouged on the wrong side of it, having to pay way more at the pump, put your spare change in the oil bin. Oil went up a lot this week. Oil was $70 when the war began. It's 90 some dollars right now. And it's only going to climb higher. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Realizing that the game is rigged and it's being played against us, you might as well play back. A lot of you just sit there with your hands in your pockets and just get beat by the game and complain about it. Amy cracked their code. I appreciate that she teaches the knowledge, but I heard her in a live stream recently complaining about the fact that I've done well. And she said, well, Zach's one of a few rare examples of people who've done well in this community. That's not true. There's a lot of people who've done well. You're not doing anything with the knowledge to improve your position. To be complaining about that is kind of sad. Anyway, and that's what we need. We need more people in this community, not only teaching the knowledge, but showing how to improve their position in the world off the knowledge. That'll make more people wake up to the game that's being played with us. And instead of getting played by the game, play back and win. Not that you're really winning living in this world right now. I mean, but you get the point that I'm making. Again, instead of just being the victim of what's happening and all of a sudden it costs way more to fill up your car and things are already high enough. Oh, you know what? I made a little financial move there and my net worth increased this week. And now I got money for the gas and the groceries. Anyway, and if you didn't watch my streams last week, I was talking about that. I was talking about commodities trading. I think I brought up the story I've told many a times. When I used to live downtown Seattle, there was a man who moved his bookstore there, Abraxas Books. I used to talk to him all the time. And he told me, he said, something you should do, and here's how I changed my life, look into commodities trading. He said it's as easy as knowing which way the wind blows. And his point was illustrated this past week. A war starts, You know oil's going to go up in value. It's kind of the same thing with everything else with commodities in the world. Sadly, something bad happens that usually drives the value of something up. You see a headline, a drought supposed to impact this world and it's going to cause a shortage of this commodity. Guess what? The price of that commodity is going to go up more often than not. That's usually the way it works. But anyway, knowledge is power, as they say. And this knowledge that I teach about allows us to see who's playing the games with us, who's rigging the game. And it only makes sense who it is. Again, we're on a calendar installed by a Jesuit priest. The Jesuits are the military order of the Pope, in tribute to the Pope. So who do you think is really behind this headline of 6 troops who were killed many days ago or a week ago, their bodies being returned on the 66th day of the year, 174 days after the Pope's birthday, when the phrase number of the beast equals 174 and 66. And again, we've seen these kind of rituals many a times over the year. This is nothing new. The phrase New World Order also equals 174, just like number of the beast. And that's what these people are into, the beast. Remember how they put the 666 all over the Cooties 19 pandemic as they reshaped the world through a monster lie, through a monster ritual, through more fear-mongering. Anyway, what else equals 66 is Tehran and Iran. Again, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language if you're new here. The alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26. That's where number of the beast equals 174. The alphabetic order with numerology applied to each letter. That's where number of the beast is 66. The other 2 ciphers are running the alphabetic order in reverse and running it in reverse with numerology. And, just to understand like great rituals from history, notice something like this. William Henry Gates. This is Bill Gates' full name. You see how his name's 258 in reverse? Number of the beast. See how it's also 258? Remember, he helped simulate those Cooties 19, or he was part of the Cooties 19 simulations. The first one was 666 days before the pandemic was declared, and his father died on the 258th day of the year in 2020. The year of Cooties 19, where the first case in the world outside of China was in his backyard and, right across the street from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation where the big needle is. Couldn't have been any more obvious, not to mention a decade earlier, he was at the World Economic Forum gloating about how in 10 years there'd be a push to pokey-doke the whole world. But yeah, number of the beast, 258, just like William Henry Gates, part of the 666 simulation. And then his dad just happens to die on the 258th day there. And don't forget, it's not like his dad was a nice guy. His dad's name was also William Henry Gates. Bill Gates, the guy he's junior. That was senior. Senior was into eugenics. He funded the Planned Parenthood thing and made it way bigger. Son comes along, carries on the eugenics dream. Again, about also at the same time he pledged that in a decade, he pledged $10 billion and said in 1 decade there'll be a greater push to pokey-doke everyone in the world, and he made a fortune off the pokey-dokes. He made way more than his $10 billion back. But that was around the same time he gave the TED Talk, where he talked about how we need to reduce the population, and we can do it if we do a good job at the pokey-dokes. And that's pretty much exactly what he said, but he used a different word than pokey-doke. He used the one that goes V-A-C-C, the rest of the word. Anyway, this stuff's not an accident. It's not an accident. And I was just saying how New World Order is 174. New World Order is also synonymous. You can see how it's 177 in reverse and 69 in reverse. It's also synonymous with the Illuminati. And notice how the Jesuit order is 177 and 69 as well as 201. Remember, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Order of Illuminati, which has the 201 as well, also the 258 like we just talked about. Again, there's a reason that all these phrases are sharing these overlapping numbers. Illuminati has the 69 as well, like New World Order and the Jesuit order. And also, around the start of the 21st century, the Da Vinci Code was really popular. That talked about the Catholic Church and the Illuminati, and it starts to make sense. Again, Adam Weishaupt was a Jesuit. They served the Catholic Church. He founded the Illuminati, but Catholic Church 69. Same with Roman Catholic. Again, all these things are not unrelated. But anyway, today, the beast ritual, right? 66th day of the year, 6 troops returned, 174 days after the Pope's birthday, as the New Jersey, and you think New Jersey, don't you think mobsters when you think New Jersey, as the New Jersey Devils pick up their 66 points of the season. But yeah, then we also bombed the shit out of Tehran. And the biggest bombing on Tehran yet on the 66th day of the year. What's frustrating is there's people in there that be like, well, how do you know that's not a coincidence? Why is that your immediate reaction to everything? The war started a week ago, right? They waited until the 66th day of the year to absolutely bomb the shit out of Tehran. Okay? This has been CNN's front page for the 66th day of the year. And what don't you get about me being the person who's been here for 13 straight years now, almost 13 straight years, being here every day, showing you how every major news story in the mainstream is perfect ritual like this, with this letter and number and date code. And again, to think that these things were implemented at the same moment in history, English with 26 letters, the Gregorian calendar, shortly after they numbered the Bibles. It's just so obvious how all of this was done as a system, and these people, I guess what these people, our fellow man, the people that can't even see this when it's right in front of their face, they just can't get it. Every day it's a coincidence. Every day it's just another coincidence. I guarantee you, a lot of people came through that video yesterday that came from Jeff Nippard's community, and I guarantee you at least half of them are just like, it just instantly, without even doing any research, this is bullshit. It's a coincidence. Like, doesn't your mind already have up a red flag? She just dies out of nowhere. A woman just dies out of nowhere at 36, just dies out of nowhere. And I also get tired of people like, well, Zach, maybe she got the pokey doke. Okay, I do realize that thing can be a heart stopper, but again, to die at 36 on 3/6, 151 days after her fiance's birthday, the 36 prime. I mean, it shows you that it's the same thing that we've been talking about since way before those pokey dokes came around. This murder by numbers code. And realize that this is murder by numbers, just blowing people up. Warfare by the numbers. Hail Satan, Saturn, Satan. Which one are they hailing? Both. It just couldn't be any more obvious. I mean, the families of 6 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers who were killed this week in Kuwait watched as their loved ones were brought home during a dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware on Saturday. Delaware's establishment date, Delaware is the first of the 50 states. Delaware's establishment date is Pearl Harbor Day. I feel like there's probably something to that. President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance joined top military officials observing the solemn events on an overcast afternoon. The military identified the 6 service members killed in an Iranian drone strike in Kuwait on March 1st as Major Jeffrey O'Brien, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzon, Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Nicole Lamar, Sergeant First Class Noah Tietens. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Sergeant Declan Cody. A lot of Codys here. Marzon is believed to have been killed in the strike, but is still awaiting final positive identification by a medical. I guess I cut off the rest of the article. I'm sure it says examiner. But yeah, again, about all roads leading to Rome. So they were killed on March 1st from the Superior General's birthday. Again, that's the leader of the Jesuits. Remember, Pete Hegseth was picked on the Superior General's birthday, the guy with the Templar tattoos all over his body, like the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo. Well, look at this. From Arturo Sosa's birthday to the strike on the base. This is the town these people were killed in. Port Shuaba, Kuwait, 109. 109 days after the Superior General's birthday, military 109. And remember, that number is special to the Superior General because the first ever Superior General, Ignatius Loyola, he was appointed to the position of Superior General on April 19th, the infamous day in history the 109th day of the year. And don't forget who got killed last week. The guy who was born on the 109th day of the year, Khomeini. And I've been telling you guys for months they're going to get rid of him at 86. He was installed on August 6th. Jesuits equals 86. Blood sacrifice equals 86, like human sacrifice. He got 86th at age 86. Quite predictable. And notice Jesuits, like I just said, it equals 86. It also equals 103. And take a look at this. These people who were killed were part of the 103rd Expeditionary Sustainment Command. The 6 people killed were part of this, right? And it says that that is a subordinate command of the 79th Theater Sustainment Command. The 103rd and the 79th. Jesuits is also 103. Society of Jesus, the formal title for the Jesuits, is 79. By the way, when was the Iranian Revolution? Wasn't that in 79? Same year that Greenland became a thing, May 1st, 79, on the Illuminati's birthday. Trump wants all these things 47 years later. Number 47. People can't see through the ritualism. Yeah, again, Knights Templars also 79. The Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo. Christianity 79. Got Hegseth with this Templar tattoos saying, Christian soldiers, we need you to go over there and crusade again. And it really is maddening, too. It's maddening listening to the news talk about how we had to stop this aggressor, Iran. Who's Iran been attacking? Some idiot will be like, they've been funding Hamas and all kinds of terrorism, and they've been attacking all kinds of people. Where's your proof that of any of that's true? Again, the United States CIA and British Petroleum overthrew Iran in 1953, literally on the Jesuit Order's birthday, August 15th. There was never any memo that, we gave Iran back. And to act like this boogeyman over there was some great threat all this time, as we've been calling him the Iran. What have we been saying? Venezuela, Iran, and North Korea are the axis of evil. That's been going on for 20-some years now. I'm pretty sure that all of these countries are CIA-controlled puppet states just for the boogeymen that are used to justify this military-industrial complex. But yeah, again, the Jesuit ritualism. 53, we overthrow it. In 79, 26 years later, there's the Iranian Revolution. And don't forget, the revolution began literally on the Vatican's birthday, February 11th, which is the 42nd day of the year. And remember, Iran is 42. Run it in reverse, it's 66, like they're getting bombed the shit out of today. War is 42. World War is 42. Jesuits 42. Freemasons 42. This nation, the capital, is named after the Freemason war general George Washington, who took office right after the first Jesuit university, Georgetown, was established 3 months prior. And don't forget, Georgetown equals 57 and 42. Georgetown's also 57, like Rome, like George Washington took office at age 57 in the city where nearly every building is named after a Catholic. Not a ooh, but a Catholic. Just like how all of these rituals are perfectly synced with the leadership of the Catholic Church right now. But yeah, again, we have this problem right here. I don't get it. I don't get it. I hate when I read that and come, like, I don't get it. What don't you get? The numbers behind the words are being lined up in rituals with the calendar, and a lot of these numbers trace back to Bible and Bible verses, and the numbers that are in the Bible that are not explained. They're just there, that somehow people read through this book and they never even ask any questions. Well, I don't need to know what that means. And again, just the whole fact that people think the Bible is the word of God. It's written by man. Every man and woman has a different interpretation of every last verse. A lot of the things written in there, because they're from thousands of years ago, they have nothing to do with the world we live in today. Why doesn't God wouldn't want to clarify things for a world that's speaking entirely different languages? And why doesn't God send some new messengers to earth to get a new a 21st century version of the text? Is that out of the is that not within God's capability? It's just, yeah, it's maddening. All of it's maddening. Again, here, let's go back to what the real problem is. It's this right here. This is the problem. The fact that they can put this in front of a website that tens of millions of people went to and almost no one even noticed it that day. Oh man, cool. So it's supposed to be the Juno probe landing on Jupiter in July? Cool. What's a goy? This Gematria, I don't get it. I don't get it. So what? Just because it was 109 days after the Jesuit leader's birthday and the Jesuits gave us the language and the calendar at the same time in history? So you're saying that means something? Just because they blew up 109 days after his birthday in a place that equals 109? I don't get it. That sure was a cool doodle. Oh, it's just maddening. It's just maddening, man. I mean, this shit just goes on every day, and people are too dumb to get it, and no one wants to talk about it. And all these frauds out here are getting the views these days. It's also maddening. Why are you listening to people who never called anything out before it happened, who never got anything right? Why wouldn't, I mean, shouldn't our stock be way up? I mean, is this not one of the greatest masterpieces ever written right here? This book could have saved the world if people read it. Yeah, I mean, quite a few people did read it, apparently. Got a lot of reviews, but not enough. I'm pretty sure I got hosed by the publisher as well, because I got paid very well the first 2 months, then I got the same $200 payout every single month after that. I was like, we dropped all the way down to $200 and we just get paid $200 every month. I think that was some kind of punishment. But yeah, again, called out exactly why he didn't want to get the clot shots and why they'd wind down their scam as soon as the year of the tiger came around. Exactly what they did. And then they fired up their next scam when the same number ritual and the same pattern with Russia, Ukraine. And now that same number pattern's right here with this. Amazing. People don't think we have it figured out. I'm still not convinced. When will you be convinced? Will it be the day that I'm decoding your demise? The day they drop the bomb on your neighborhood, synced up with the Superior General? And hopefully you can hear me from up in heaven where you think you're going to be? Well, I'm up in heaven now, and now I finally get it. Yeah, we did blow up today. It's just, yeah, this was the problem right here, you guys. This was really the only problem. Oh, man. Here, let's see how all the propaganda networks cover it. So this is how CNN covers it. Let's see how Fox is covering it. Israeli Defense Force says it struck IRGC Quds Force commanders at hotel in precision strike. I guess we better get caught up on our acronyms. Here. Well, let's see exactly what the IRGC is. What is the IRGC? The Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Okay. Established in 79. Okay. So. How do I go back and it goes to this? Can I go to the front page, please? Trump's already declared that we've won the war. This is reminding me of George W. Bush. Remember when George W. Bush said we won the war and then it went on for 20 more years? Trump blasts UK's prime minister. We don't need people that join wars after we've already won. Well, if we've already won, what are we doing? What's Israel doing? Okay. MS Now. Let's see how they cover it. It used to be, people don't know, MSNBC changed their name to MS Now. Russia gave Iran information that could harm U.S. forces, officials say. How they build the narrative day by day. What if the people of the world found out that the same people who rule Russia are the same people who rule the United States? And all the people of the world are getting played against each other when these people at the top, they're just ruling over all of us. They see us as cannon fodder. Okay. How's the BBC covering it? Huge fire engulfs Kuwait City Tower as Trump accuses Starmer of seeking to join wars after we've already won. Trump's always got to be the clown on the world stage. Clown man. Okay. And Al Jazeera. Israel bombs Tehran on oil deposits. Iranian attacks on Gulf states continue. And yeah, just all the wealthy people at the top just making more and more as all the poor people who continue to vote, a lot of poor people, all the poor people out there that voted in this last rigged selection, if you voted for Trump or Kamala, it doesn't really matter. If you vote for either one, you're guilty. If you're voting in these rigged selections, you're voting for tyrants who do not represent you. They don't give two shits about you. And who they serve are these people at the top that make war needlessly and, take advantage of rigged markets. They'll make your life more expensive for their own gains. They don't care about inflation because inflation doesn't hurt assets. It just raises the value of assets. All these people, they already had a $50 million worth of property. Now it's worth $100 million and you can't afford anything, which gives them an even larger upper hand on the world's populace. It's the problem. People are not educated enough to understand the way this world works that's been designed by them with their banker systems that are meant to protect them and hurt us. But yeah, at the same time, I mean, by being knowledgeable of the game, you can take advantage. Investing in oil last weekend, as soon as you could have, would have been a very smart move. It's gone up a lot, and it's only going to go up more. And at some point, it'll come back down, and you got to know when to get out. But it doesn't look like the coming down point's going to be anytime soon, does it? And just the way all these games work, gold skyrockets, has its best year since 1979. And think about that. I mean, you don't hear anybody talk about these things. Gold's having its best year since 1979, while Trump is 79 years old, the man who declared the golden era. And gold is the 79th element on the periodic table. It was the same reason it was so easy to see that Todd Golden of Florida would win March Madness last year because the championship was on 4-7. And I think once again, we'll be nailing March Madness again this year. The game is rigged, and learning how to see how they rig it, crucial. Silver, the 47th element on the periodic table. It had been artificially kept down at a incredibly low value that didn't make any sense because demand was way up for a long time. But then once 47 gets in office, it just skyrockets. Again, it just shows you, in a sense, how fake all these economies are, how contrived all these numbers are. Silver should have been up in value years ago. But when 47 comes in, the 47th element on the periodic table skyrockets. You got all these people in the world thinking like, I don't know if there's any point in studying the numbers. It's like, okay, you must be an idiot. The people who run this world, their motto is all is number. All is number is their motto. If you don't know what the word all is, it's a 3-letter word spelled A-L-L. Maybe look up the meaning of all. All is number. And again, number. The problem with that word is we've been taught to be numb when the numbers are mentioned because we all went to slave school where they made us hate the numbers. Again, imagine had you gone through slave school and your teachers were teaching you about how the days were numbered, teaching you everything I'm teaching you, and this is part of your upbringing, you'd have a whole different perspective. Your teacher's teaching you, listen, kids, when you grow up and you're old enough to take advantage of the rig market, remember these things. And didn't I tell you guys that the attack on Iran was imminent before it happened? I thought it was going to happen the weekend before it did. I thought they were going to do it on the same anniversary of the Russia going into Ukraine. But again, it would have been a great time to invest in these kind of commodities like oil. So understanding which way the wind is blowing can be quite lucrative. And yeah, denying this knowledge can also be quite consequential as well, because the world has ignored this knowledge. And again, imagine if everybody was where we were. This stuff would not, this wouldn't be able to, they would not be able to get away with this. Everyone would understand what's going on, and there would be a rebellion against the people who need to be overthrown. Instead, you got all these idiots going along. Well, I shouldn't say all, but you got a lot of people that are going along with this crap. All right, quick recap. 6 U.S. troops brought back to the States on the 66th day of the year. Almost looks like 666. Again, 174 days after the Pope's birthday, when we're on the Pope's calendar, and on the 66th day of the year, when these numbers correspond with number of the beast, which is 666. I remember teaching people about this in Seattle, and they'd come up and they'd say, well, I don't care about none of that because I don't believe in any of that stuff. So I don't really believe in it either. I'm talking about what the people who rule over us believe into, and why they're putting the 666. If you guys don't know, look it up. Claydex, the first Cooties 19 simulation, May 15th, 2018, 666 days before the pandemic was declared. Again, the whole teaching in the Bible about 666 is that you have to accept it if you want to buy or sell. The word VACCINATIOH, here, I'll just show you right here. In Sumerian, which is multiplying times 6. So there's the alphabetic order, and times 6 is Sumerian. So if I write out vaccination, you see what they did here? 666 days after the simulation. And keep in mind, the simulation was on May 15th, 2 years to the day of Trump declaring Operation Warp Speed. But yeah, the first Cooties simulation, and it was the sister simulation of Event 201, which took place October 18, 2019, the day the military world game began in Wuhan, China, 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan. And 1018 is a lot like Luke 1018, where Satan comes to Earth. October 18th, Luke 1018. Lil Nas X put out the Satan shoes with real blood in the soles. 666 pairs with Luke 1018 written on them shortly after that. And then DMX, who said he sold his soul to Satan and the price was cheap. He ended up dying on Lil Nas X's birthday. But anyway, yeah, Mercuralia was the day of the simulation. And remember, there used to be a lot of videos on YouTube until 2012, and they took them all down with people questioning if those mercury-based preservatives in the shots might be doing a little harm. All that information had to go because it was misinformation. If you guys haven't seen my daughter, she's about the healthiest thing there ever was. I mean, she doesn't have any shots in her. Like, her skin's perfect. You see a lot of babies have bad complexions. They're getting sick all the time. They got all kinds of things going on with them. My daughter doesn't have a single shot in her. There's all this fear mongering too on the local news. I mean, it's just like, you got to turn it off. Go out and get your shots. RSV going around all over. Blah, blah, blah. You turn on the TV, it's just nothing but fear mongering. And again, look how many people just watch TV and they just go out and they succumb to the fear mongering. The nightly news, it goes to the commercials. It's all pharmaceutical advertisements. Half for some kind of head problem, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, antipsychotics. Now weight loss. And that's the other thing. For years, they've just marketed junk food to you that you don't need to be eating. And that's the thing, out of sight, out of mind. But what does advertising do? It puts it in your mind. Just like the news is putting all these bad things in your mind all the time. And I hate when idiots come around here and say, Zach, all you do is talk about the news. I talk about the news to teach you all to see through it, not to succumb to it. If you're too dumb to understand that, I don't know what to say to you. I guess it's this. This is what I got to say to you right here. Here's the problem right here. Here's the problem right here. So, the mockery every day, every day. And it's annoying how often these people, these kinds right here, almost everybody, just come to these instant conclusions, and they all come to the same instant conclusions. This is dumb. If you look for patterns, you'll find them. Humans are pattern seekers. Isn't it weird how they all say it's like, where did they all get these same ideas? You're obviously not a pattern seeker. You reject a pattern when it's shown to you instantly. So what are you talking about? You're saying all humans are pattern seekers, but you reject the pattern as soon as it's shown to you? Yeah, it's just I wish I could have been born one decade earlier. It's annoying how 9/11 happened right after I turned 18. I had 2 great weeks and then boom, 9/11 happened. All of my adult life has been this struggle, trying to expose people that are evil ruling over us, but then the people around me, they all seem to have this problem right here, and then I become the bad guy. Plain to that doesn't make any sense. By the way, just I gotta do this. I gotta do this reminder as well. Let me see what's going to happen here when I pull up the database. Again, they are going to hit that Dome of the Rock. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so this cipher right here. Whoops. I can't choose the order it goes in. Oh wow, I never realized that World Economic Forum's abbreviation was 911. I never realized that before. But here's the one I wanted to bring up. Tisha B'Av, right? 9/11. Tisha B'Av is the 9th of Av, and this year it falls on July 22nd and July 23rd, but it is to remember the destruction of the 2 temples, right? The first was Solomon's temple, the third was Herod's temple. But you can see the things that are 9/11 on here. Al-Qaeda terrorist attack is 9/11. Tisha B'Av, 2 temples, the Twin Towers, obvious parallel. Vatican Hill, who's behind the whole thing. Jihadists, that's what the supposed guys whose passports were found were referred to as. Division, pretty obvious where that fits in. The WEF, I'm glad I realized that. There's probably more from this list that matters. Global currency, that's probably all in due time. Anti-vaccine, that's funny. I should go through this list. There's more here that is interesting, but really the one I wanted to bring up is Tisha B'Av because, again, the Twin Towers fell, but then remember, 7 hours later, Building 7 fell. And do you remember what Building 7's name was? The Solomon Brothers Building. And I'm thinking about it more now because that building, I know that building was 47 stories tall. I mean, I've been talking about this forever. 47,000 square feet of office space on each floor. So 47 floors of 47,000 square feet of office space. I'm just thinking about how this countdown with Iran, ever since if you guys were too young, for all you young people or weren't alive, ever since 9/11 happened, the news media has fear-mongered going to war with Iran. They made it seem like it could have happened any day right after 9/11 happened. But they've waited all this time to now, and it's been slowly unfolding. There's been a few skirmishes here ever since the October 7th, the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan after 9/11. But and that's why it's just maddening, all the ritualism too. It's just, God, they have to just do the same dates over and over. And again, we've explained why. October 7th, military equals 107. It's the day leaving 85 days left near Templar 85. Those are the Crusaders. Again, Trump now blaming the assassination hoax of July 13th. And think about that too. The fact that we live in a nation where everybody didn't recognize that was a hoax when it couldn't have been any more obvious that it was a hoax. The perfect Photoshop under the 13 stripes on the 13th of July. I mean, there's only one way to explain it. Again, it's this. This is why not everyone saw through it. That's the only explanation. By the way, for anyone looking at Easy up there, Eazy-E's death was a major 201 ritual as well. Like the 2 towers became 0 before they became 1. Like the 201 stamp that's all over everything going on right now. Which again all goes back to the Jesuits, aka the Illuminati. But yeah, don't forget, this is all really just And you could even say that it began before 9/11, but 9/11 kicked off the 21st century where it's been nonstop war and the clash of the Abrahamic religions. That event was also foreshadowing what was to come with these this religious contested site known as the Temple Mount, where people want to get rid of the Dome of the Rock to bring back the third temple, which will be the modern day Solomon's Temple. And yeah, it was the Solomon Brothers building, the third building to fall that day. And for the idiot trolls that keep spamming everywhere the same stupid thing, you just realize you make yourself look dumb every time you post it. If you don't know the idiot trolls, you've probably seen their comment. They go, Zach always says that two towers became one, but how can that be when three towers fell that day? It's just like, is this guy a retard? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. He is. They called it the Twin Towers, moron. They replaced the Twin Towers with the One World Trade Center. Most people don't even know about the third building that fell that day, the Solomon Brothers building. And isn't that crazy, too? Isn't it crazy that the average American doesn't even know that this happened? You know, I didn't realize that building was built in 87. I find that interesting, actually. I find that quite interesting, 87. I'll show you why if you don't know why. Muslim is 87. $379. The Jewish, the 75th prime. That's interesting. This war began. Whoops, sorry, I spelled. It's going to have the same value, but I had the L and S backwards. This war began in Israel while Israel was 75 years old, and like I said, the attack last week on February 28th was 75 days before Israel's birthday. It's interesting. And also, just imagine being so hard-headed to not get it. You know, there's a lot coded in not Netanyahu's name, which is not his birth name, and that should also show you that they code out these people's names. Again, Benjamin Netanyahu went to school in Philadelphia, like the letter is written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. And I told you when he came back on Albert Pike's birthday that this foreshadowed World War III, because Albert Pike did write the letter about 3 world wars, as far as I'm concerned. People want to say that's a hoax now. I don't think so. And I think that's why they brought back Netanyahu on his birthday. But the Third World War is centered on political Zionism. Anyway, that's not his birth name, but notice his new coded out name equals 177 and 69, like the Jesuit order, whose fingerprints are all over the creation of Israel. 93, which is all kinds of important for a million different reasons. All this Saturn business, Saturn 93, Israel drawn up on 93, their Congress, Knesset 93. What do they call the defense system? Iron Dome 93. I don't know if Edelstein is still the head of their Knesset. He might be. He was for a long time. But when all the world leaders gathered there after, what was his name? I always forget the name of their leader who died at 93, but then all the world leaders were there for his funeral on the day, leaving 93 days left in the year. But yeah, Netanyahu, though, in reverse is 282, and October 7th happened 282 days after he came back into power. The majority of the world writes the 28th of February, 28/2. This major war escalation on 28/2. A joint attack by the U.S. and Israel when Benjamin Netanyahu grew up in the U.S. in Philadelphia. God. Remember, Philadelphia 223, just like the synagogue of Satan is 223. And Netanyahu came back December 29th, 2022, right at the very end of the year, 22 chapters in Revelation. 3 days later, 2023 began. Maybe that was a precursor for... Notice, the synagogue of Satan is also 79, just like where a lot of these people live in New York, Brooklyn, New York. They just did that ritual with the Hubbard headquarters Remember, that was 77 days after the Superior General's 77th birthday that Hubbard's headquarters at address 770 got hit with the car. I'm sure that was, and looking back, I'm sure that was a foreshadowing for what was coming. But yeah, here we are. Here we are with the 6 soldiers on Saturn's Day. And I just don't know. That's the one thing I don't know. It'd be so easy for them to just make this up for the emotional effect, or it'd also be so easy for them to have 6 soldiers out on a little patrol in the right spot to make sure that when they put the attack there. And that's what's sad to think too, you guys. Um, CNN wrote an article today about how Iran, how their missiles rarely hit targets that they're aimed for. I wouldn't be surprised if the US or Israel, if these 6 soldiers died, were actually blown up by either the US or Israel for the ritualism purposes. And realize, there's an incentive to kill Americans because people in America, just imagine the young people right now in high school, recruiters right there in their school, ready to sign them up. That's how it works, you know. In some homes right now, they're saying, "Yeah, yeah, son, yeah, daughter, go fight for your country right now. We need this holy war. Got to take down those evil brown people that put the things on their heads. They attacked us on 9/11. We got all the passports." But yeah, and then you would listen to our news. We had to stop Tehran from being the aggressor. It's like the aggressor. I mean, we're like, we're in South America taking people out. We're all over we're in Africa taking people out. We're everywhere taking people out. The aggressor. I mean, give me a break. God. Again, the 2 greatest aggressor nations in the world are the U.S. and Israel. In the post World War II, it's not even a contest. Not even a contest. This is That's why it's annoying. I know people are brainwashed and mind controlled, and 13 years of slave school pledged into 13 stripes. But if you can't see that it's your country that's the aggressor and the evil one, I mean, I guess that's just it. You're brainwashed. You're mind controlled. I mean, it's that simple. It's the Ignatius of Loyola quote, the first superior general: "Give me the child, and I'll show you the man. We'll brainwash you in our schools, and then we'll use and abuse you for the rest of your life, and we'll mock your ass all the way to the grave too, you goy. You dumb goy." Yeah. Let me see what else was in this post. These headlines are funny, aren't they? India's $74 million Mars mission costs less than Gravity movie. Just clowning us, man. Ah, man. The Juno probe was launched on August 5th. Think about it. They can be written 5/8, like Freemasonry. July 4th, Masonic. And not to mention, NASA was established in 58. Science equals 58 too. Almost all the original founders of NASA were. Oh, here's another good 58 word actually, because almost all of them were scientists from Germany. Isn't it funny? NASA. It's a lot like Nazi. I mean, look at it. NASA and Nazi. I mean, they're very similar words. But yeah, NASA launched in 58, mostly with Nazi scientists. Werner von Braun was like the top scientist on the team, guy who invented the character, the Elon. But yeah, nearly every astronaut to go to space has been a Freemason. I mean, come on, man. Shout out to Big Al. I hope you had a good night, Big Al. Oh, it looks like a lot of people had a good night tonight. Yeah, thank you to all the people who sent over a tip. I saw the first 6 games came in today. I don't know how the rest ended. We went through a lot of games today, but oh, anyway, anyway, what a crying shame it is. What a crying shame. Fresh off the lot says, does this mean World War III is speeding up the end times? Well, hold on. Does this mean World War III and speeding up the end times or end of America as a nation? Not exactly sure where you asked that in my stream. Were you talking about how I was saying how they want to accelerate? And I'm guessing you left that when I was talking about how they want to accelerate and bring in the third temple to justify the existence of Israel. Just looking at it logically, the need for human beings is at an all-time low with robot. I mean, did you guys see the other headlines this week that Ukraine deployed a bunch of robot soldiers this week? So we got robotic soldiers. You know what's amazing? Then I got to look more into the year 1917. This is at the time of World War I. The first comic cartoon illustration of robotic soldiers goes back to 1917. And another funny thing about 1917 is that that's the year that Aldous Huxley had Eric Blair in his classroom. Eric Blair is George Orwell. And I don't know if they still make you read these books in school, but when I was coming up, you had to read them. You had to read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, who died the same day as JFK, and 1984 by George Orwell. And Brave New World was about this dystopian future where everybody's medicated to be controlled. And then George Orwell's 1984 is where everybody's under the watchful surveillance eye and being told what to think at all times by screens. So you see how both of their books are very much related to the world that we live in today. But yeah, that was 1917 as well. So it's like, to think about it, I mean, that means it's 109 years later. Go figure. But yeah, that is pretty interesting. It is 109 years later, and military is 109, and Ukraine's rolling out the robot soldiers. It's Terminator. But yeah, the point I'm making is my wife was just telling me at their work, they just use some AI program to rewrite all of their procedures and protocols. And she was saying that the AI just redid everything and it's way better. And it was just done in minutes. And she's saying, the previous protocols, the people that were working on them, who wrote them, it took them over a year. And so the robot can analyze, or the AI, and do in minutes what it took people over a year to do. So, I mean, that's why you just look at everything going on in the world. And here's the other way I look at it too. Well, when the 21st century came around, George W. Bush, and I mean, that's also why it's just so annoying to me. I mean, I couldn't even vote when George W. Bush was elected the first time. I was a senior in high school in 17. We had to talk about it all the time in class, and I still remember my teacher, Mr. Griffin, always calling me a dumbass because Hubbard, you're dumb. You're stupid, Hubbard, because I was saying that it looked like the election was rigged. I said, you got to be kidding me. The state where his brother's the governor, and they told us for 3 months it was going to come down to that state. I mean, elections in America aren't rigged, Hubbard. It's like, I don't know. It looks pretty rigged to me. I mean, not to mention this guy that they just installed is a fucking moron. Jesus. Yeah, George W. Bush. And it's crazy. Donald Trump makes me beg for George W. Bush to be the president of the United States. That's what Trump's even dumber than Bush is. I almost want. I guess Trump doesn't like. Trump doesn't. Well, Trump only uses about 4 words. Everything's good, great, or bad, or terrible. The best, and maybe I don't know. Maybe Trump's got like 10 words he uses. The best, the word. It's so annoying to listen to this idiot talk. But Bush, I mean, he would just always stumble on his words and say things that made no sense. You'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? But I don't know. Somehow Trump's even dumber. And that's the thing. The country's just gotten dumber. And remember when Bush was in office, they passed what they called No Child Left Behind. And No Child Left Behind meant that you didn't have to do anything in school and they were just going to pass you. You just pass anyway. You don't have to do anything. Pass. And society's never been dumber. I mean, the music is kind of one of the things where you're like, God, look how bad the music is. Musicians are retarded. Are you kidding me? Everything is. The movies are so dumb now. Everything is just so dumb. The people, everything, the entertainment, the sports games are so dumb. They're unbelievably dumb. You know, when I was growing up in the 90s, basketball teams rarely eclipsed 100 points. It was rigged back then, but it just looked more real. At least they played defense. Now some games, the score's like 150 to 140, and it didn't even go to overtime. And all game, it was just free lane. It's like, this is stupid. You tell me these guys are paid all this money, and the pussification of everything. You can't even tackle a guy in football anymore. He might get CTE. Well, decades ago, they were just beating the shit out of each other on the football field, and we weren't hearing anything about CTE, and people didn't seem as moronic as they are now. I mean, nothing makes sense about anything. All I can tell you for all you younger people is the world has been pussified and stupefied. And I think mentalism, you know, the first rule of Hermeticism, all is mental. When they tell you that everything's going to kill you, it's going to make you weak, it's going to hurt your brain, it probably does, because you're thinking in this way. When we were coming up, we were being raised as men to be tough. If you got hurt on the field, shake it off. Did you just break your ankle? Get up and run anyway. You know, that was the mentality back then. You better not cry, pussy. And now we're like, well, that stuff is bad. I don't think it was bad. Everybody wasn't on pharmaceutical drugs back then. Everyone wasn't anxious and on antidepressants. It was just, we were being human beings. You know, we weren't so easily offended and sensitive and weak. Look at everybody now. They're just, can you believe he said that? I mean, shut up, pussy. God. Shut up, crybaby. Go do something about it. And we don't solve our problems with fists. Sometimes that's how a problem should be solved. Guy doesn't know his place. He should have his teeth knocked out of his mouth. Then he'll think twice next time as he walks around with his dentures. Again, it just, everything's gone. The world, it's just been everything's just gone downhill, man. It's just, all of it's bad. I feel bad for the younger generations. And that's part of why I've spoken out the whole time too, because I've just seen the destruction of the world, and people who don't know any better, anyone who thinks the world's getting better, going the right direction, you're insane. You're insane. Insane. 30 years ago, everybody wasn't on pharmaceutical drugs. Everybody wasn't a little wimpy crybaby. People weren't so divided over. Did I not tell you guys before Super Tuesday of 2016 they were going to install Trump because he was so polarizing and divisive? They're going, man, I can't believe how divided we are now. What do you mean you can't believe it? Have you seen this clown, this orange-painted clown they've had in front of us since 2015 when he announced he was running? I was making that point in 2015. I said, does anyone see what's going on? I said, if something happens in the world, we're not even hearing from Obama what he has to say before we hear what Trump has to say. So I was saying that. I said that in 2015. I said, it's like Trump's already the president. It's like he's the most important man. He's trumping everybody. Remember, trump cards are the highest cards in the tarot deck. They trump everything else. The joke's been there the whole time. The joke's been there the whole time. So, you guys, this is the power of the knowledge too. And that's the thing too. Almost all the people who've tried to slander my name, just all the haters and losers out there, mostly all of them religious. Zach promotes gambling. Here's Big Al, who has a comfortable salary. I teach you how to turn 5 into 50 or $100. Here's a Big Al today. He turned 25 into just about 100, 20 into over 300, and 15 into about 120. So, you know, I'm guessing Big Al's salary is probably around $50 an hour. Not everybody makes that good of money, but he wagered $60 today. So he wagered about an hour of his salary, a little more than an hour. And he turned it into over $500. So he turned his money into times 9. And again, the game is rigged, you guys. The rigged game is meant to destroy us. I don't understand why you guys don't think you should fight back with the knowledge. It doesn't have to be sports gambling. Like I said last week, I advised you guys last week. I said you probably want to invest in oil. It's probably going to go up a lot. Went up a lot this week. Simple. Amy, if you're out there, instead of complaining about that you don't like about me boasting about my success, make yourself more successful. Use the knowledge to improve your position in the world. I heard Amy also complaining that she doesn't have much free time to do decodes anymore because of her corporate slave job. If you want to work a corporate slave job, that's up to you. But you could be using this knowledge and improving your position and maybe getting away from your corporate slave job. Everyone can be doing that. There's so many different ways to do it. Amy's been here a long time. I told that story about that Abraxas book owner many a times. He changed his life through investing in commodities. And he says it's easy to do is pick which way the wind is blowing. Just like the oil thing. The oil thing's not a hard call. So, anyway, it's getting late. I got to wrap it up. Eloy said, hey, Zach, no, it's off topic, but play my email. Is there a video in your email? I don't have my sound hooked up right for this stream to do it. Here, I'll look up your email, though. And you guys should tell me which email you sent it to, because I have 3 different emails that I use, but I'm going to guess that it's my GematriaEffectNews one. And I don't know when you sent it, because I don't see anything in there today. Eloy, I am not. Let me see. Or I found something called Family Guy Mockery. Let me see. Did you send this to me on January 22nd? Is this the one I was supposed to find? I found your email from January 22nd. I don't know if that's the one. Is it the one about this whole time our love was fake, like COVID? That's the one I just found, but I appreciate it. Chris said from Pi Day, March 14th to Donald Trump's birthday, June 14th, is a span of 93 days, including the end date. Well, I mean, it'd be true every year, wouldn't it? But I don't know. I'd have to think more about that one. They started celebrating Pi Day in '88. I know that Trump is his character's related to Biff Tannen and Back to the Future. Where they time travel at 88 miles per hour. I don't know. I'd have to think more about it. Appreciate it though. Thanks, Chris. Fresh off the lot says, when does Russia and China get involved? Well, I mean, you see that today's headline that Russia is giving Iran intelligence on where U.S. assets are. So it looks like they're already involved. And don't forget, Putin's birthday is October 7th too, right? Hold on. Is Putin going to turn 74 this year? He is. Wow, he's going to turn 74. We know 74 is one of those magic numbers. Xi Jinping has almost the same birthday as Trump. He's got his birthday is one day after. He's 72 right now. I'm going to turn 73. I should think about that, because you're right. That's a good question. I used to have a middle school teacher who always told us that when China goes into Taiwan, that will be the event that kicks off World War III. And yeah, it's another thing that they've been teasing with, that could happen at any time now. Last couple of years, it's been quite the conversation piece. So I'll look more into that. I should think about that one. Does the SPARS pandemic simulation by Johns Hopkins have any gematria or coinciding dates in it? I have to go back and look at SPARS. It's been a minute. The SPARS thing was a while back now. Let me see here. They simulated October of 2017, and that's right. It's supposed to go on from 2025 to 2028. The Superior General will turn 78 later this year. That's probably something that matters because he was installed on October 14th, which is the day leaving 78 days left in the year. Again, Israel's also going to turn 78 this year. Don't forget the movie about the, World War Z. World War Z, the 26th letter. Here we are in 2026. The movie, the zombie apocalypse, and then turned out that Israel, they had the solution. Yeah, SPARS has the 19 like chaos, the number they kept with Cooties 19 through each year. Just never changed. New strain to new year, but we're still going to call it Cooties 19. SPARS pandemic is 78, so post. May 20th. God, what do they call it? Here, let me see. Hold on, my internet might have gone out. Shit. This past year on May 20th, Cannonball Day, they came out. I forget what they called it, though. God, and I'm not pulling it up right away. I hate when the search doesn't work. All right, hold on. May 20th, 2025. Who? God, what did they call it? Shoot. All right. Well, that search was good enough to get what I needed. Okay, guys. Cannonball Day is to remember the day that Ignatius of Loyola got shot. Okay, so it's a play on words, shot. Just like how the first vaccinated person in America for Cooties 19 was Sandy Lindsay on the anniversary of Sandy HOOK. And don't forget, Sandy HOOK was established in 1956, and the shooting happened 56 years later. Like how that was the number all over everything with Cooties. The virus 56, the pokey doke 56, this douchebag, this Jesuit douchebag 56, this other Jesuit douchebag 56. It was 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began, on and on and on. So the Jesuits, Cannonball Day, the day to remember their founder getting shot, which began his mission to... Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me just read this sentence out loud and see if we're putting it together here in real time. On May 20th, 2025, the World Health Organization adopted a historic pandemic agreement And what it is to make sure everybody gets shots really fast, faster than last time. Warp speed's not fast enough. Faster than last time. The next time there's a pandemic. And as Bill Gates has told us, the next pandemic could come sooner than we think. These people adopted a historic pandemic agreement at the 78th World Health Assembly. Oh, great. So SPARS, yeah, the SPARS pandemic, 78. Wow. Again, the Superior General turned 78 this year on November 12th. The leader of the Jesuits, 78. Hold on. Wasn't this encoded in the... This was encoded in the thing last time, too. Remember? We talked about this. Wuhan. Oh, boy. Can you imagine they start a world war and then all the world leaders say, we have to stop this world war to lock down. First, they can just call it Cooties 19 again. For Cooties 19 is back. Stop the war. Shelter in place. Did you guys see Donald Trump announced freedom cities? Did you guys catch that one about a month back? Let's stop the war and let's all move into the freedom cities where we can be safer from the Cooties 19. This fighting is child's play. There's some killer germs out here. Did you guys see this? Donald Trump's freedom cities? Isn't it just all you do is just change a couple? That's why it's George. I hate how. Remember how 1984 became the best-selling book on Amazon right after Trump took office? I remember that like it was yesterday. But yeah, in 1984, they just changed language for things. Oh, just change the words. Conservatives don't like 15-minute cities, but if Trump just comes out and calls them freedom cities, they'll hop right in. They're not 15-minute cities. They're freedom cities. All right. Hey, good question on the SPARS. I think sadly we might have just figured it out just like that. Hold on. Well, these people could be blatant enough to just do it on the Superior. Wouldn't it be something if they did it on the Superior General's birthday? That is about when flu season starts. May 20th, 2025 to November 12th, 2026. I just got to see. 541 days. What do I know about that number? It's the 100th prime number. Hopefully we're not 100% correct here. Well, yeah, he is going to turn 78. He was installed on October 14th, 2016, the day leaving 78 days left in the year. Got the Superior General right before they installed their big orange Jesuit clown stooge Trump. I'm gonna think more about this because I'd forgotten that it was the 78th World Health Assembly where they did this. But all the people out there that don't think the Jesuits run things, it's just because you don't have enough information. And part of the reason you don't is because, where's it at? It's right here. Here's why you don't have enough information in the age where people like yours truly have been dishing out like no other every single day. Here's the problem right here. Jesus, what the hell's that about? Okay. I'll go back through that SPARS thing. I forgot. I haven't looked at it for a long time, but just your question reminded me of what they did last year on Cannonball Day. Open Up says the only people complaining about gambling don't know how to use the knowledge. Yeah, but a lot of them are Bible thumpers too. And here, let me remind you, Bible thumpers here. What did Jesus say about gambling? Let's see. What did Jesus say about gambling? Oh, that's right. He didn't say anything about gambling. He didn't say anything about gambling. See, it does say to not love money. And I don't think anybody should love money, but we all got to pay the bills. And we are living in a world where these people are trying to price us out of existence and make it so that they own us. and there's no way around it. And again, what I've realized in the time of doing this is, you have a gathering, an important gathering, and you ask people to show up. And then you hear from a lot of people that say, I really wanted to be there, but I couldn't leave my slave job. And then who were the people that were out when we went to New York, for example? A lot of the people who are out there were people who escaped their slave job by using the knowledge and improving their position in the world. That's who a lot of the people were that were out there, including people that also now have their own Patreons and also teach the knowledge to people. Cousin Mar was out there, who was homeless when he found this knowledge and was donating his own plasma the day he found this knowledge after Kobe died. And he got $85 for donating his plasma that day. And he heard what we were talking about with the rigged Super Bowl and the upcoming championships. And he turned $85 into $85,000. And again, Amy, if you're out there, I heard you complaining about me going on Chaotic Goons channel. Again, I don't go on that channel out of pleasure. I go over there to teach the ignorant and also to figure out if there's a way to work with these types of people. But there was a great stream where people came on there like Cousin Mar and told their story and made that community look stupid. One guy was out sitting at the beach and he said, the reason I'm out here on the beach on a Monday, it was beautiful, is he said, I don't have a slave job anymore. He said, I use the knowledge and, I've broken away from the slave grind. So, Amy, when you're complaining about things you don't like that I'm doing, and then you're talking about how you don't have time anymore because you still have to go to your slave job, sounds like maybe things aren't registering as well as they should. I do appreciate all the times you taught Gematria, but again, a lot of you could have done a lot more in this world had you implemented what you learned. You got to use the knowledge. You got to use it. See, we don't want to profit from others' losses. We just want to take advantage of the rigged game. It's that simple. We are being priced out of existence. You got to fight back. All right. All right. All right, I don't have any more to say, but yeah, for all you religious people too. I mean, again, it just seems like you guys are just the ones that just don't get it. You're actually the problem. I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to say, God, Jesus, whatever you believe in, am I the problem? See if you hear a voice back. If you do, it might be a sign of mental illness. Again, you're not going to hear a voice back. That's not the way God works. But if you can't see that you're the problem as the religious one in 2026, there's something seriously wrong. Seriously wrong. Look at what religion's doing again, creating another needless war. If nobody is invested in these religions, this is an impossible thing for the cabal to pull off. Again, it's the cabal that spread these religious texts all over, divided the world on purpose. United we stand, divided we fall. They have humanity divided over all this nonsense. Even just nations. It's like people can't see that. Look at all these red, white, and blue flags all across the world, from Russia to the U.S. and beyond. Thailand has another red, white, and blue flag. They're doing military stuff in the same way we are. Again, it's one cabal ruling over all and keeping us, well, they can rule even further. I mean, again, once they get their total, Larry Ellison's, everybody has a camera on and the AI is observing all people at all times and everything's digital and every last transaction you make is under surveillance. And that's the thing too. It's just like, again, about everything going digital, it makes it so much easier for them to destroy their enemies too. Remember what happened to me last summer? I still remember it was August 22nd. August 21st, I get notifications on my phone from Verizon. I have Verizon. It says, fraud has been detected. Somebody's trying to use your account to buy iPhones in Florida. So I read it. It said I didn't need to respond to anything if as long as I wasn't actually trying to purchase that. But it said, look like it's fraud. We've detected it's fraud. We just want to let you know. So those came up as text notifications from the Verizon app. The next day, I'm feeding my daughter. I had a bottle in hand. I'm feeding her milk. And then the phone rings and it says Verizon official. Verizon official. And if anybody has Verizon, I'm sure you're used to getting those Verizon official calls. So I at first I was not going to pick it up because normally when they call, they're just trying to sell me something that I don't need. But then I was like, oh, I bet anything they're calling about the fraud message last night. And sure enough, I pick up the phone and he says, I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that somebody attempted fraud with your account last night. We're just confirming that you did not try and purchase iPhones in Florida. I'm in Washington State, so no, I wouldn't be buying iPhones in Florida. I said, yeah, that must have been fraud. I said, I didn't try to make any purchases. Now, what I didn't realize is this was the scam. This Verizon official call was the scam. And I didn't realize this at the time, but he said, okay, we want to zero these out of your account so they don't end up on your bill somehow. He said, I'm going to send you a text. I need you to read back the code to me just to confirm it's you. And all of us are used to doing this at this day and age. I mean, this anyone who's had to get some kind of customer support, they text you things and you read back a number. That's pretty much par for the course. And when the text message came, nothing looked suspicious. It came in my typical Verizon text chain, the one that says, you paid your bill this month, $200. You paid your bill, your new bill's out this month, blah, blah, blah. It's like I've had Verizon forever, so it's a chain that just goes for years. But so I read the code back to him. Now, I was occupied. Maybe had I not been occupied also feeding my daughter milk at the same time, I might have saw what it said in the text message. It was permission to port my phone number. Now, I wasn't expecting that. He called about the text message I got last night, Verizon official. So when I read the text chain back to him, I gave him the code to port my phone number. And Verizon has a new company called Vision. The phone went dead. It said SOS. I was no longer able to make phone calls. Had I not been in my house, it would have been a lot worse. Because I was still in my house, my phone was still connected to my Wi-Fi, so I still had the internet. And within minutes, it started to say, your bank account password's been changed. Your credit card account password's been changed. Just going into all the different financial things I had, I'm getting all these emails for notifications. And the next thing I know, I'm seeing all these purchase alerts. I registered to some crypto website because they took control of my phone. They now had my phone because they ported my phone to somebody else. And then once they had my phone, because you know how it is, you can reset passwords, right? If you have somebody's phone number. And what I learned is, like, I have an iPhone. Apple keeps control, or like all your financial stuff is saved somewhere in like the Apple cloud. So the hackers, they know how to just get into everything right away. So instantly they were into all my financial accounts, draining the bank account, racking up all these credit card charges. Just a ton of damage done within 15 minutes. And again, that's the problem with things being digital. And here I was thinking I'm talking to official Verizon. I ended up getting everything back. It took. You know what? Did I tell you guys that 47 days later, my bank finally gave back the vast majority of my money, and then I still had to fight with them a little bit more over a few other things that they were trying to argue, and I was just like, give the rest of it back. But literally 47 days later, they gave it back. Also, Verizon gave me a few $1,000s worth of credits in the end too, because I probably could have. I think they did that to try and keep me from suing them, because it did look like it did come from an official Verizon employee. But this is the point. In this digital age, it makes it really easy again, you can't, I guess, well, I guess in the physical age too, if somebody like comes into your house and you have everything, I guess, there's all kinds of ways to steal, but in the digital age, in a way, it makes it a lot easier to steal your stuff. Like what happened to me. I mean, so that's what I mean. It's just, and by the way, you guys, the day that I got the cyber attack, that was the 33rd day of my age. I also suffered a cyber attack on my financial accounts when I was 33 years old. So this time it came 9 years later at age 42. They got me at 33 and 42. What magic numbers? But yeah, again, it just, that story is the problem with the times we're going into. And it could even be in the future, it could even be worse than that. Like, you don't even have to get scammed out of it. The government and the banks can just maybe just cut you off. Oh, well, we saw that you uploaded a video questioning the latest war we started, and did you not get the memo that could make you a terrorist in the eyes of the law? And as a terrorist, you don't have right to these federally insured banks. So right now, you cannot. I'm pretty sure that is the world that we're heading to, and unless people rise up and do something about it, but that's not looking too promising. I think at least half of America right now is cheering this on. These idiots haven't learned anything. They haven't learned a thing. All right. I said I had to get off 20 minutes ago. I really do. So we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you everyone who hits the like and the share. Appreciate everyone who supports the work. And until next time, Truth Seeker, have a good night.